In a society where success is measured by square footage, closet size, and the latest phone upgrade, a question quietly lingers beneath the surface noise. Are we truly happy? We work longer hours, fill our homes with things, chase the newest trends. Yet anxiety, burnout, and emptiness seem more common than ever. What if the answer to our growing discontent was buried 2,300 years ago in the words of a philosopher who believed happiness could be found in a loaf of bread, a sip of wine, and a deep conversation? Welcome to the philosophy of Epicurus, and a showdown with the juggernaut of modern consumerism. Hey everyone, welcome to the Unfolding Journey, a space where timeless wisdom meets modern chaos. Each week, we explore philosophy, psychology, and the deeper questions of life to help you navigate your own unfolding path. If you're curious, thoughtful, or just plain tired of surface-level content, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode. Epicurus has long been misunderstood. In popular culture, his name is mistakenly associated with indulgence and luxury, Epicureanism being synonymous with gourmet food and lavish pleasures. But this is a distortion. The real Epicurus taught something far more radical, and perhaps more relevant today than ever. He believed that happiness comes from simple pleasures, friendship, freedom from fear, and an examined life. For Epicurus, the good life wasn't about more, but about enough. He lived in a modest home known as the Garden, where he and his followers practiced a minimalist lifestyle centered on conversation, study, and serenity. His ideal was not opulence, but ataraxia, a state of peace and absence of anxiety. Fast forward 2 millennia, and we've built an entire economic system that contradicts Epicurus at every turn. Consumerism tells us that the good life comes from acquiring bigger houses, trendier clothes, newer gadgets. Advertising doesn't just sell products, it sells desires, manufacturing needs we never knew we had. Our identities are no longer formed by philosophy or community, but by brands. Social media curates envy. Fast fashion burns through resources. We work not to live, but live to work, to afford lifestyles that leave us craving more. Ironically, the more we consume, the less fulfilled many of us feel. Epicurus was not anti-pleasure, far from it. But his version of pleasure is strikingly different from the instant gratification culture we know today. He distinguished between natural and necessary pleasures, like food, shelter, friendship, natural but unnecessary pleasures, luxuries, and vain or empty desires, fame, power, excessive wealth. Only the first category, he argued, brings true satisfaction. Contrast this with today's dopamine economy, where apps, ads, and algorithms hijack our brains. Epicurus believed pleasure should be deliberate and moderated. Today, it's impulsive and addictive. The result? A society plagued with stress, attention deficits, and FOMO. Another cornerstone of Epicurean philosophy was the pursuit of freedom from fear, especially fear of death, divine punishment, and a chaotic life. Epicurus didn't believe in an angry God or eternal damnation. He thought understanding the world through reason and science could liberate us. If we realize that death is simply the end, not a punishment, then we're free to live fully in the now. Compare that to today's society, which is often driven by existential insecurity. We fear not just death, but also financial instability, being irrelevant, being left out, or not having enough followers. Our anxieties have changed costumes, but they still control us. Epicurus would urge us to confront these fears, not with denial, but with understanding. That's how we regain peace. Modern psychology, surprisingly, backs Epicurus. Studies show that beyond a certain income level, often cited as around $75,000 to $100,000 annually, more money has diminishing returns on happiness. Relationships, purpose, and health matter far more. Even minimalism movements echo Epicurean ideas. Owning less, slowing down, focusing on values over things. Epicurus was, in many ways, a proto-psychologist. He understood that internal peace and meaningful relationships were the bedrock of well-being. Not because he had data, but because he paid attention to human nature. Here's the real question. Is it possible to live by Epicurean principles in our material-driven culture? Yes, but it requires courage and intention. It means redefining success, not as status or stuff, but as freedom, simplicity, and peace of mind. It means choosing friendships over followers, purpose over productivity, enough over excess. It might look like eating simply but joyfully, without shame or excess. Creating strong social bonds, rather than chasing digital approval. Detaching from vanity metrics, and instead measuring life by inner calm. setting boundaries so time and energy aren't constantly consumed by hustle. This isn't about rejecting modern life, it's about reclaiming it. You don't need to abandon your job or retreat to a cabin in the woods to live more Epicurean. You can start by unsubscribing from marketing emails that fuel unnecessary desire, making time each week for meaningful conversations, eating a meal slowly without a screen, taking 10 minutes a day for quiet reflection. The point isn't perfection, it's alignment. Living a little more like Epicurus each day brings us closer to the happiness we crave, but have been taught to buy instead of cultivate. If Epicurus could see today's world, he might warn us that consumerism doesn't just waste money, it steals life. It pulls us into comparison, clutter, and craving. It convinces us that joy lies outside us, when it's been within reach all along. His remedy isn't glamorous. It doesn't come in a box or trend on TikTok. But it's powerful. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not, he wrote. Imagine how different our lives would be if we truly believed that. In the end, Epicurus and modern consumerism offer two radically different answers to the same question. What makes a good life? Consumerism says more, newer, faster. Now, Epicurus says enough, simpler, slower, always. One leads to a cycle of wanting, the other a path to peace. Maybe it's time to stop scrolling and start savoring. Maybe the garden Epicurus cultivated wasn't a relic of the past, but a vision of the future we still have the power to build. If this episode made you pause and think, imagine what would happen if you took one Epicurean step today. Toward simplicity, toward presence, toward enough. We're so used to chasing happiness that we forget it might already be within reach. Epicurus challenges us to question the script we've been handed, one written by advertisers, algorithms, and relentless ambition, and to write our own version of the good life. So here's your invitation, try it. Pause before your next purchase. Choose a real conversation over a scroll. Replace the pursuit of more with the practice of meaning. You might be surprised by how little it takes to feel truly alive. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of Epicureanism and modern consumerism. At The Unfolding Journey, we believe that philosophy isn't just for textbooks, it's for real life. Whether it's ancient wisdom or modern psychology, we're here to ask the big questions and unfold what they mean for you today. New videos drop every week, each one diving into the ideas that shape how we think, live, and find meaning. So if you're someone who questions the status quo, you've found your tribe. If you found value in today's video, we'd love to have you join our growing community. Hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and drop a comment below. What do you think? Can we be happy with less? Or is modern consumerism too deeply ingrained? Let's keep the conversation going, and let's keep unfolding together. Until then, walk gently, live deeply, and remember, less might just be more.